Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedeva Sarvakarucha Sarvadam Ganganapate Namaha Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Om Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamah Jano Janandidam Satyam Muchyate Bhava Bandhanat Om Bhagavate Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha Shri Lakshmi Narayanaya Namaha Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha Om Shri Uma Maheshwara Swamine Namaha Om Divalingaya Namaha Urdhvalingaya Namaha Anandalingaya Namaha Om Aim Brim Klim Chamundaye Vichye Shri Hanumanji Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 14th of November 2024. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma Bhagavan residing in the heart of every being. We are continuing to examine basic concepts in Vedanta, particularly Advaita Vedanta. And today we are going to delve into, today and probably tomorrow, maybe next few days, Pratibhasika Satyam. This is a concept that is not easy to understand right away, but it is a major idea in the Vedantic tradition. It is the apparent or illusory reality. Pratibhasika Satyam is the concept in Advaita Vedanta that refers to the subjective errors of perception or illusory experiences that occur on an individual level. These are temporary distortions of reality shaped by the mind's misinterpretation and misperceptions, which appear real to the perceiver for a limited time, but are ultimately false upon deeper inquiry and clear understanding. While they seem real to the individual during the experience, they lack the enduring quality of empirical reality, which is Vyavarika Satyam, and do not have any true existence when measured against the absolute reality, that is Paramarthika Satyam, which is Brahman. So there's 3 points here, three terms: Vyavarika Satyam, Pratibhasika Satyam, and Paramarthika Satyam. Right? So all three they have their relative existence. Now, nature of Pratibhasika Satyam is what? That it arises from mental errors, often influenced by sensory input, emotional states, and ignorance. These illusions are fleeting and context dependent, meaning that they vanish once the mind gains clarity or corrects its perception. So there's a bunch of examples here. There's 3 famous examples: the snake and the rope analogy, which many of you may already know about that one. Then there's the mirage in the desert analogy. And then there is the analogy of dreams. And that's the one I want to talk about today, this one about dreams here. Because that is something that we don't talk about as often. These other 2 analogies are pretty well known. We can certainly talk about them if you want me to. I'll be happy to do that. But let's see if we can understand this a bit further. The world of dreams is another illustration of Pratibhasika Satyam. While dreaming, a person may experience vivid events, whether it be joy, fear, or pain, that feel entirely real at the moment. They may see themselves flying, talking to people who have passed away, or being chased by something terrifying. Anything can happen in the dreams. In the dream state, these experiences seem tangible and true. However, when the person wakes up, they realize that none of it was real. The dream was an illusory experience arising from the mind's subconscious and sensory impressions. It has no lasting reality, even though the emotions and sensations felt in the dream appeared real. This serves as a metaphor for how illusory experiences, whether in dreams or waking states, are temporary constructs of the mind grounded in Pratibhasika Satyam. Now let's unpack this. Let's try to understand this clearly. All right, this is a subject that is not easily discussed. Let's see where Bhagavan takes us with this one. So the first thing to understand here, through an analytical inquiry, we are experiencing Jagrat Avastha and Swapna Avastha. Waking state, like right now, we're all awake together. Isn't it so? We're awake. It's an experience of Jagrat Avastha. And then as time goes on, we may take an afternoon nap. If you're really tired or whatever, you might wind up dreaming in the afternoon. Wake up after having some afternoon nap and have some tea and then get up and do your activity again. And then go to sleep at nighttime again. We are constantly moving through the three states, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Okay, this is very clear. Vedanta is teaching us, the realized enlightened sages have taught us, have stated that the Paramarthika Satyam is that only Brahman is real. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Ramakrishna Paramans, in his teachings, is Brahma Satyam, Jagat Satyam. So nobody is wrong in this. Both are correct. It depends on perspective and which angle you're looking at. That's all. Now, as far as our lives go, to bring Vedanta into the experiential state, the Swapna Avastha, the dream state, is created by the brain, the mind, the chakra system, but it's not just that much, it's more to it than that. It is created for the Jivatma, by Paramatma, inside the Jivatma, based on the entire set of karmic storage. This is explained in Vachanamrut. That's why these things on Swaminarayan spirituality, why they're so advanced. Vedanta goes up to some level, Advaita Vedanta itself. It stops at one point. Because it says that everything is an illusion, everything is just a reflection. Yeah, okay, true. Once we realize that the Jiva and the Brahman are one, that is correct. It is illusion. It is called adhyas. Adhyas means it is an appearance, superimposition. Shankaracharyaji's entire Tattvagnan is based on this doctrine of adhyas, that it's not there. So, for example, when we are in Swapna Avastha, when we are dreaming, is it real? At that time, it is real. That is why it is called Pratibhasika Satyam. It is an example of Pratibhasika Satyam. And in fact, it is also Pratibhasika Satyam. Because it's a reflection through the mind-body complex, through the mind-brain distortion, and then the whole dream world is generated. Amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, there's so much to be said about this. The yogis, from a yoga point of view, from a Patanjali Yoga point of view, Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, first Yoga Sutra. It's actually the second Yoga Sutra. The first one is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. There are 100, I think there's 200 Yoga Sutras. There's statements like this. What is the goal in the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali? The goal is to bring complete stability inside the Swapna Avastha so that it actually disappears. My God, that's unbelievable. Is that even, you see, this beyond neuroscience, beyond our current research in neuropsychology and dream psychology. Most neuroscientists would say you'll go mad if you don't dream. Yes, of course, we're already mad. There's no question of going mad. Vivekananda Swami was asked, do you hypnotize people? I said, no, I de-hypnotize them. They're already hypnotized and mesmerized in the madness of this world. There's no question of going mad. One is already mad. The sane person awakens out of the constant projections internally that are generated because of our vasanas, because of our desires, because of our endless preoccupations. But when we awaken, as the Yoga Sutra says, Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha. We talked a little bit about this some years back. Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha means that the vritti, the fountain, the analogy of the fountain is given in Vachanamrut Vartal 4. That it's a fountain. Like a fountain, there's innumerable vrittis, innumerable drops of water, innumerable, countless droplets of water. Our thoughts and emotions and memories, the antakarana is like that. So what is yoga? Yoga means, or we say yoga, it's all right, either way you can pronounce, but the correct pronunciation is yoga. Yoga. But it doesn't matter. So what is yoga? It is the chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta vritti meaning this constant flow of experience from inside, the flow of the mind that is coming from inside endlessly. It settles down and becomes absolutely still. It is not destroyed, it is the stilling of the mind, stilling of the antakarana. So what Patanjali would say is that once the mind is completely still, then the Paramarthika Satyam, it is going to shine. Because that is who you already are. That's what Vedanta is teaching us. You are the Brahman. You are Akshara Brahman. You are, so that is a realization where the Swapna Avastha, 90% of it disappears. Because during the daytime, during the Jagrat Avastha, the Mumukshu is living in connaissance with, in communion with Paramarthika Satyam. When a bhakta, a sadhak, a mumukshu begins to live each day in connection to that Paramarthika Satyam, through manan, chintan, bhajan, through different sadhanas, the mind is absorbed inside that Satyam. This Pratibhasika Satyam settles down. It begins to dissolve. And the dream state, 90% of it vanishes. So what's the other 10%? That's the interesting part. The 90% that vanishes is Yog Nidra. And the 10% that remains is Bhagavan coming to you at night time. Yes, that's the 10%. So if you want to see God, you clean up our lives, complete Shuddha bana dena, mind, Pavitra bana dena, bhakti, during the waking time. Keep the attention on the Narayana, keep the attention on the higher goals, Vedantic contemplation, Manan Chintan, higher contemplation, the goal, set the goal for realizing the Brahman. And when we set that goal, the mind becomes purified. Antakarana Shuddhi. And when the mind becomes completely purified, it becomes completely still. Mansik Shuddhi में से मानसिक स्थिरता आती है. Shuddhi meaning pavitram. Pavitrata. See, pavitrata is a further evolution of shuddhata. From shuddha to pavitra. From pavitra to divya. So at night time, if a yogi is really evolved and all the confusion and all the distortion is gone from the mind, 90% of the swapna avastha would disappear. That is called yoga nidra. Only rest is there. But what shows up as experience is Bhagavan. God comes to visit you. The way you want God to visit you, इसमें क्या होता है? वो जो स्वप्न जो आते हैं, these are divine dreams. Most human beings don't get to anywhere. We're lost in the madness of this world only, in the confusions of this world. That's why we don't experience these things. But when a sadhak really begins the purification and gets purified, gets clarified, Everything is just aligned so beautifully. When the time comes to rest at night, as Shriji Maharaj has given this amazing analogy in Vachanamrut Garada Pratham 32. Mala ane khilanu Vachanamrut che. Amazing things are there actually. But the birds and the nest, simple analogies are given. They're so powerful that the birds go all day flying around and experiencing whatever. But at nighttime they come back into the nest and rest. Similarly, Maharaj said to his devotees, his paramahansas, and to all of us in tradition, we may have all kinds of experiences in the waking time. We have so many experiences. But at night time, come back and rest in the nest. That is the Swarup of Paramatma. That is the resting inside the Murti of God. Mala ane khilanu Vachanamrut. Garada Pratham 32. Amazing, amazing. ये एक अनुभव का प्रश्न है सब. One who goes in this direction can touch God actually, or God comes to you. भगवान स्वयं आते हैं. इसमें 100% ये बात सत्य है. It's not any imaginary thing or some projection of the mind or anything like that. It's not like that at all. And not only that, वो तो है ही, but that 10%, then the Atma begins to reveal itself. That the Atma Tattva, that is not male or female or rich or poor, all the things that are in our mind, they are there as Vyavharika Satyam. That remains. The brain is not damaged or anything like that. It remains where it's supposed. One sees beyond that. And so the mind is so still, antakarana bahut sthir hota hai. Or because of the grace of God, Bhagwan ki krupa se, Atma Darshan ho sakta hai isme, at night time. And in the Atma Darshan, now there are intermediate stages, chakras appear, the internal reality begins to open, and eventually, if the mind is absolutely absorbed in God, and with the great krupa and Sant krupa, really saintliness, and all these things we talk about, why we talk about what will happen if we evolve further, that at nighttime, particularly, 90% of all that dreams and all that confusion goes away. Okay, and then the 10% anubhav is the Atma revealing itself that I am this. This revelation of who you are, of who we actually are, begins to show up. Some aspects of the Atma begin to reveal themselves. There's Vachanamrut also. Brahmanand Swami asked a question about this to Maharaj. There's a whole analogy of, it's called Bhungli ane Gainu Drashtant. That's what it's called in the Vachanamrut. I'll explain that some other time. It's an example of a doll. Let's save that for tomorrow. I'll explain that analogy tomorrow. But the point is, in essence, it means you begin to have anubhav of the Atma. It begins to open. Not the full anubhav, some anubhav. It is some partial Atma Darshan. It is not samyak Atma Darshan. Samyak Atma Darshan means 100% Atma Darshan. That is, so darshan is there, and then the sakshatkar is. Sakshatkar means that one never loses sight of who one is. One lives in the Atmic, Brahmic consciousness while the three avasthas are going on. But the Jagrat avastha, even though he sees the world, sees everything, Vyavharika Satyam, but Shriji Maharaj in Vedras has mentioned that Jagratma Shushuptini Pethe Anubhav થાય છે. The Jagrat avastha is there, but it is, even though you're eating, drinking, talking to people, but there is no activity or even the existence of vasana. The ego-driven activity that we usually are going through, it is not there. It is like Shushupti avastha without it being Shushupti avastha. My God, these are very tremendous things to realize. Tremendous states of realization. And this is called Paramhansa. Isko Paramhans ki sthiti kehte hain. Paramhansa means what? It's not by title and all that thing. People sometimes, that's all foolishness, those titles and all that. You throw all that thing out. That has nothing to do with spirituality. People are running after titles. This is childishness. Sab baatein. Real sthiti ki baat bahut alag baat hai. And every human being can reach this. Every human being. But it necessitates taking a path towards Paramarthika Satyam. Then it is possible to realize. And then, what is the quality of life in this? It is Maha Ananda. It is not just joy. We use this word joy. These words they're not adequate, these English words. The actual Sanskrit ke jo shabd hai na, wo exact shabd hai. We do what we can. It's okay. No, it's no problem. But it is Maha Ananda, Brahmananda, Divya Ananda. Because the sadhak, by the grace of Guru and Paramatma, has broken out of the clutches of the three gunas of Maya. Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamogun, ke jo is the binding power. Mahamaya says, okay, I'm going to release you. Durga Devi says, I'm going to release you. Because you want to be released from this and you have set that destination and you're putting your attention in that, I'll be happy to release you. But if we want anything out of Mahamaya, our own ahankara-driven experiences, she's not going to release nobody. Absolutely not. Kabhi bhi nahi. Not under any circumstances. Because she said, why should I release you when you don't want to be released? Why? She's not going to release anybody. No way. Kabhi bhi nahi hota. Even the slightest ahankar for anything will keep one inside the three gunas of Maya. Even the slightest. That is the criteria. So somebody might be so sattvic. I'll close with this point. I went a little over here. Somebody might be very sattvic, very knowledgeable and praised and be humbled and all that. Someone might be, some sadhus have this also, even sadhaks. They are so pure, they are so humble, but somewhere lurking is that sense that I am humble. That is Maya. And that is just, the Mahamaya says your ahankar is still as intact as when the first day you started. Because the sadhana is done through some kind of ahankar. When sadhana is done without any ahankar, Bhagwan comes to the bhakta right away. Bhagwan swayam aate hai. The moment that even one time you say Sri Krishna, without any kind of ahankar or vasanas or anything like that, Bhagwan swayam aate hai. That is pure, 100%. That is the divya state. Divyam dadamite chakshu. Divya chakshu opens. Everything. He reveals himself. Garada Pratham 1, in the Swaminarayan Vachanamrut recordings, we have done 45 recordings, 45 hours on the first two questions so far. And in the first section, it's about 30 hours of recording on the first paragraph only. And it's about this point that sadhana is done without any ahankar. Then Jeev, Ishwar, Maya, Brahm, Parabrahm, sab adhyatmik tattvo, they open in front of my God. It's impossible to describe. You close, such a Mahapurush closes the eyes just to sit for dhyan for 2 seconds, billions of galaxies appear in front of the person. And not only that, Golok Dham, Vaikuntha Dham, Ras Leela, all the different abodes of God, wo sab dekh sakte hai. Sitting just in, you cannot take a spaceship there. Spaceship will not reach there. These are the things written in Vachanamrut. These are the things written in all of the Sanatan Dharma ke Shastra. Kitni amazing baat hai. But we are nowhere near that. And the only reason is because of the clutter and the noise inside our head. That's a fact. Okay, so let's stop here. So I went a little over time, but okay, that's all right, I guess, for now. We'll try to keep the time. Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदं मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपा। तमेव माता च पिता तमेव बन्धुश्च सखा तमेव विद्या द्रविणं तमेव सर्वं मम देव। ओम कर चरणकृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वा अपराधं विहितं वा सर्वमेतत्क्षमस्व। जय जय करुणाब्दे श्री महादेव शंभो। ओम दिव्यलिंगाय नमः, ऊर्ध्वलिंगाय नमः, आनंदलिंगाय नमः, चंद्राय नमः, सूर्याय नमः, नक्षत्र विग्रह मते नमः, नवचक्रांगाय नमः, ओम ब्रह्मचारिणे नमः, ओम श्री उमा महेश्वर स्वामिने नमः, ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुंडायै विच्चे, ओम ह्रीं स्वाहा, ओम श्री राधा कृष्णार्पणमस्तु, ओम दुर्गे दुर्गे रक्षिणी ठ ठ स्वाहा, ओम श्री दुर्गार्पणमस्तु।